Hi, welcome to Derek Does. Today, we're going to do this. Hi, welcome back to another Derek Does. I'm Derek, and if you're new here, please subscribe, comment, like, all that stuff, especially on this thing, because I don't know that much about it. This is what they would call, and do call, a Cadet Parka. Also, I've seen it as Cadet Coat, anything along those nature. I'm sure there's variations of that. This is a coat, we'll call it a coat just for easiness. This is a coat that was issued to cadets of the U.S. Military Academies, particularly Westpoint and the U.S. Air Force Academy. I'm pretty sure this one's actually from the U.S. Air Force Academy because I'm in Colorado and it is also in Colorado. So it kind of makes sense that I would be able to find one of these because the school is within 100 miles of where I live. So the one thing that I don't have is usually on these, they would have a patch right here, and you can see pictures with the military academy they're going to, and then also your graduation years. It's like a varsity jacket. It may see it is a varsity jacket for military cadets, but everyone I think got these, not just the varsity team. This one, again, because it's not dated and the tag is gone, so I can't date it from the tag and I can't date it from the patch, which should be on here, but I can kind of date it from the zipper. Zippers are always your friend when it comes to vintage clothing. If you look on the zipper, it usually gives you a rough idea of the year, and this one is a Scoville gripper zipper. Now Scoville was a zipper like Talon or YKK or YYK, I always get those mixed up, of the vintage era. It's from New York, and they made them from 43 up until 1973. So obviously this is probably from the 60s, the 70s, and maybe even the 80s, because just because the company went out of business doesn't mean that there wasn't a company that had a pile of zippers, that they had bought, and they had, bins and bins of zippers. So just because the company went out of business doesn't necessarily mean the jacket or the coat or whatever stopped that time, because they would have a surplus of zippers and that sort of thing. So this, I would assume, is probably from that era, though. I'm going to say the 70s, maybe the 60s. It's tough to tell out those items. I know it's not the 40s. It's just they wouldn't have the gripper zipper on that in that time period. But it's also not from the 90s and above. Now, they still wear this jacket. They still, as far as I know, they still issue this jacket. I don't know when they started issuing it. It might have been, because I know usually the Westpoint, they always have the gray jackets and things. I've come across those in my thrifting eras too, but usually they're a little more pageantry looking with the buttons all across. They're just not as, like, you could wear them as a normal jacket unless you're Michael Jackson. But this is a cool jacket. This one's huge, though. It's probably like a size 50 or something. I currently have this on eBay if you're interested. It is vintage. It is a U.S. military jacket. I guess it's kind of like the cadet field coat in a way. I did a thing on field coat, so it's kind of similar, I guess. But it's wool, and it's a really thick wool. I had a similar jacket to this, which was it was a jacket that had the pockets, didn't have the hood. And that was also a cadet jacket. I had that for a long time, and then eventually I just thought I never really wore it that much, and so I did sell it. So without much ado of what the history of the jacket is, let me put it on. You can see what it looks like on, and then I'll put it on the hanger and we can do some close-ups of the jacket. It's kind of cool. So here's the jacket. You can see it's quite big. Even on me it's big, and I've got long arms, and it's still... I could do that. So it's a big jacket. But it's a really nice jacket. You have the hand warmers here. I could totally see this with a sweater. You'd be like just cozy as anything. And of course, when it gets windy or cold, you have this hood. If I can do it without looking at it, which maybe I can't. There we go. And then to get the hood out of the way, it folds down just like your typical varsity jackets do with the zippered hood, or like an N32, I think, has that same style of hood. And then on the inside is not lined again because it's just solid. It's solid wool all the way around. Let's put on the hanger. So here it is. You can see it's a nice long jacket. It does collect hair and such like a beast, so keep that in mind because it is 100% wool. Here you can clearly see where the patch would have said something. And here you can see, get this, there we go. It's got a Scavell gripper. This is real common in military gear. You'll see this zipper a lot. I've seen it a lot on flight pants and overalls and all sorts of stuff. You have 2 hand warmer pockets. And again, they're all wool, just like the outside. Now, one interesting thing, it has cuffs, which is normally a coat like this, like a pea coat or something, doesn't have that. It just has a straight opened sleeve. But this actually has a wool knit cuff, not on the bottom, just on the arms there. Again, this opens all the way up. I'll show you that in a minute. Now on the back, that's what it looks like with the hood down. And it's a loose, it's not a tight fit jacket, it's loose. This one actually has a, what brand is that one? Oh. What brand is that? You guys know? Put it in the description down below. And of course you saw that as when I wore it, it zips up and you can see it. Now, let's look on the inside. You can see it's not lined. It is overlaid with pretty thick seams there and there. And on the inside, just like that. Now I believe the tag was right here. You can see where the tag was at one time. It's missing. It's gone, including the size tag. But it is quite large. I would say this is probably a 50 size in that range. Might be a 48, but that's a really big, unless they're oversized. I don't know. But this is it. It's a real nice, it's just black wool, but it's that nice thick, you can see the thickness there. Well, this camera sometimes. You can see the thickness there. It's pretty thick. Keeps you warm. It's a nice jacket. Coat, parka, whatever you want to call it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode on the Cadet Parka. It's kind of a neat, unusual jacket that you may be able to find out in the wild. Obviously, this one's for sale if you're a bigger size guy. This would be great for you. This is actually, it'd be really nice for the winter because it's kind of got just a big old blanket. And it's not like going to get some wind through it because it's thick. It's like a pea coat in a way, but it's more, I don't know, pea coats I always found not as comfortable. This one's more comfortable. It's like a sweatshirt almost. Pea coat sweatshirt, where a pea coat, I always got air through it when you move and stuff like that. I never really enjoyed the pea coat as actually a cold weather jacket. But this is the same type of material. It's that really thick wool, and I think you're gonna like it if this is your speed. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next Derek Does.